Hey guys, another great edition of Quarantine with Coaches. Today we got Coach Charles Watkins. He's a Concordia University Chicago defensive coordinator. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Tim. Thanks for asking, sir.
Absolutely. How's everything down in River Forest?
So far, so good. We're still waiting to hear back when we'll be allowed to be back on campus. But with the state and with us being so close to Chicago kind of guidelines, we're I think at phase 3, which is good. A lot of businesses are starting to open up, and with our players being in different states, their states starting to open up too. So guys are able to work out and get situated. So things are looking on the up and up.
Awesome. Hey, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is just your background and your history that you preceded you before you got to Concordia. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from South Jersey, Camden, New Jersey. Played high school ball there and was fortunate to get a scholarship to play under David Cutcliffe, play wide receiver there. And then after upon graduating, wanted to kind of stick around football, so I had a chance to get in arena football for 2 years out in Iowa and Cedar Rapids. And from there, there was from January to about June was kind of that season. Then at off season is when I got introduced to coaching. I got my first coaching job. I was an 8th grade head coach with substitute teaching, working at Planet Fitness overnight, so just juggling everything. And then that second year, I finally was like, hey, let me try college ball, and college, Coach Staker, Tyler Staker. I'm forever thankful he gave me my first opportunity. And I was on the offensive side, right? I was a receiver, and they only had a DB coach position open. And because I interviewed well and I was willing to learn, he said, we're going to give you opportunity. And from there, I was DB coach. Then I turned into the pass game coordinator, coached the safeties, corners, and hybrids, being in the 4-2-5. And it was my second year, which was a great opportunity. I got to learn under 2 different coordinators there. And then from that experience, I had an opportunity to come back home to New Jersey with Chris Ash. He allowed me to be the GA for the wide receivers under Lester Erb. I did that for just a season. And then Coach Aubrey got this job at Concordia, Chicago. I knew him through networking. He was a high school coach, and when I was at I recruited to Chicagoland, stayed in contact with him. And when he got the job, he instantly he thought of me. We joke around. His first call was to his OC. I was the second call. But he asked me, said, "Hey, are you looking to get back on the defensive side? Would you mind being a defensive coordinator, recruiting coordinator as well?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I came, I want to say January of last year. So this would be year number 2 for me here at Concordia, Chicago.
Awesome. And so your career, as you just mentioned, sort of took you crisscrossing across the country, right? Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned about networking in that time?
Absolutely. It's important to build great relationships wherever you are, and make sure that you don't want to burn no bridges. So when you do leave, when you exit on good terms, right? In this profession, I would love to be somewhere for 20 years. That just don't happen unless you're Kurt Ferentz. You're losing. You probably at a place maybe 5. Probably the longest. Probably sure the average is a little different, but so wherever if you leave somewhere, you want to make sure you leave it in a good place. But then when you take advantage of all the clinics, take advantage of your time right now with networking. That's something I did, when I reached out to you, because I always want to learn, right? And you never know what that person's going to do. And that's why I tell all our young coaches, I'm young myself, but I tell guys younger than me that, hey, build relationships with your peers, because your peers are going to be coordinators, head coaches someday. And in this profession, it's about who can you trust and how's the relationship with that person, right? Because I believe everybody in this coaching world have some knowledge, right? Has no X's and O's, but it all comes down to who can I trust, who can I build a relationship with, who I want to come coach with my staff. So that's why I tell young guys, hey, build a relationship with your peers, reach out, check on everybody. Don't be afraid to clinic with a different person, because you always can learn. And that's something I think that helped me grow in my profession, because with me being a receiver, I didn't really know too much about DB work. So when I got hired, I dove right in. I wanted to make sure when camp came, I was experienced. I didn't want the players to question what I knew. I wanted them to say, hey, I knew it, here we go. And then I think with me being a receiver, though, that allowed me to give them insight, on what to expect what to expect from a DB, how the receiver is going to move, why their splits were a certain way, how are they going to run certain routes. So I think that actually helped me with my transition. And I say that to say, I tell guys, hey, when you're networking too, don't be afraid to learn the other side of the ball, right? If you're an O-line guy, don't be afraid to learn what the D-lines are doing, meeting with a D-line coach. If you're a quarterback, don't be afraid to learn what the linebackers are doing, what the secondary is doing, because it's only going to advance you in this profession.
And you said earlier you played for Coach Cutcliffe, who's a legend in this game. Can you talk a little bit what you learned about the culture from playing under him that maybe you use today at Concordia?
Absolutely. So I use this with all my players and with everyone here and part of our team is the 4 F's: faith, family, future, football. And I live by that. With our faith, that's huge for me. It's number one in me. I let my players know that. And with us having Lutheran values founded in Christianity, it speaks volumes to work for a university that has the same values and morals that I do. And for our players, and we create the Bible study for them. We just want to help them take that next step spiritually. And we want to challenge them mentally, physically, and spiritually. So that's where the faith point comes in that. And then family this is more present now because of what's going on in this world. We're able to have that connection, that bond where we're able to have those conversations with our team. And I think our coach did a good job of handling that, and our athletic department did a great job. But we probably would have been a little harder with more attention if we didn't have that family bond. And for us, it means a little different. It's forget about me, I love you. And we're going to play for that guy besides us. We're going to make sure that guy knows we genuinely love that guy. It's not, a lot of people just say it, but when we say it, there's a bigger meaning behind it. And that just allows us to have that connection. And in future, with our guys here at Division III, they, be honest, 90%, maybe 95% won't go to the NFL. So we got to start game planning what's life after, right? How can we go professional in something else? And that's the biggest thing that I want to help our guys with. We got 90% placement rate 6 months after they graduate. And that's something that through our career service, they do a tremendous job there. And with me building connections here in Chicago, open internships for our players, that's the biggest thing that I want to do. And then football, if we're able to do those three, I think football takes care of itself. And that's how we build our culture here. But without those first three, the 4F doesn't happen. And I think that was to be honest with us, for guys that are listening, we took over 2-8 program. This team was 2-8, I think, for 2 years in a row. And when we came here, we went 5-5. And I think because of the culture that we build in here, it allowed for that quick turnaround. There was the same players. I think maybe 2 or 3 returners didn't come back. So it was the same exact player, just that the culture was different. And I think with that culture in place, we were allowed to see the results on the field.
Yeah, and one of the final questions here is, you're still a relatively young guy, right? But you're now in a position where you're a coordinator and you got young guys working underneath you. What's some advice that you give to young coaches that maybe want to emulate your career?
Perfect. So a lot of people think it probably be cliche, but honestly, be where you are. Be where your feet is planted. I can't stress this enough. In this profession, people are always looking for that next job, that next promotion. And I'll be guilty. I was that guy at 23. I was like, man, where can I go? And a wise coach sat me down and said, hey, I can tell when you're passionate about the program is when you're not looking at other programs. So your players see it, other coaches see it, fans will probably see it. So I tell the guys, hey, if you want to, eventually get a promotion somewhere, be where you're at. Do the best that you possibly can. So when people speak your name, they know you gave it 100% and you were all in for that program, regardless of that logo on your chest. It didn't matter to you. You could be at Alabama or you could be at Concordia, Chicago. You're going to give it everything you got.
That's awesome advice. Hey, we'll do a little rapid fire before I let you go. Cool with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, book that's had the biggest impact on you.
Perfect. Oh, man. It's called All In. It's called All In by Mark Batterson. He's just challenging us. It's about, Christianity, just being all in, not being half in, half out, but what it looks like to be all in. And he gives different stories from people in the Bible. And this had a huge impact on me during this whole quarantine, and really opened my eyes and seeing how can I be more all in.
Yeah. Chase the Line, also a book by him, one of my favorite books.
Yeah. I got to try to read that one next.
In spring. Hey, what's been your go-to quarantine meal during this time?
Oh, man, I would say some type of seafood. If it's shrimp, salmon, tilapia, flounder, that's been getting me through. I love seafood, being on the East Coast guy, but that's been my go-to.
Oh, fancy. I mean, I've been eating seafood too, but it's been tuna out of a can.
That's right. I heard the tuna with the rice and beans.
Right, there you go. It's simple, man. It's like homemade adobo or chipotle. It's really simple. Who's been the biggest mentor for you?
Man, for me, it's so many, to be honest with you. There's so many guys in this profession. But just right off the bat, that's outside of coaching, because I don't want to offend any of my coaches, is Bill Stevenson. He's a good friend. He's our chaplain here. And he's a guy that, as of recently, I grew a close relationship with spiritually, but then also he's just been a friend with me during this whole time. He's been a open ear. He's been listening. He just want to know, how can we expand the conversation? How can we have this conversation for our Caucasian athletes, for African-American athletes? And that's been really good for me in my development. And I'm still learning. I don't know it all. I want to still keep learning and gain more wisdom. So, but he's been helping me in so many different areas. And then on the football field, as far as coaches, I would say Coach Aubrey. He was doing a really, really good job. He's been helping me out, just helping me grow in this profession. A lot of do's and don'ts, and kind of navigating, some stuff probably outside of football, kind of with the recruiting aspect of it, and how we're trying to find the right fit for our program. I think that's huge, because if you don't find the right person for your program, it could hurt the program. And that's something I really take heed in now. We want to find the right guys for our program.
Awesome. What's been your go-to TV series that you've been binging?
Gotcha. So the one recently, man, that I'm super excited about that Prime just put on was the Eagles. The Eagles are All In.
Sure.
I'm probably on episode 5, and I probably started this morning. So I've been binge watching that. I'm super excited. I love football, but I love seeing it behind the scenes, seeing how guys work, seeing the hours that other coaches put in, and hearing the backstory. I think everybody has a different story, but some of them might correlate to you, and that's something that I'm learning now. And seeing how 2 years ago they were in the Super Bowl, and then what happened last year, 2018 they were in the Super Bowl, and then 2019 or 2017 they were in the Super Bowl. The 2018 season didn't go well, and then this past season didn't go well for them either. But seeing how they adapt and what their approach was great.
Final question. You're obviously, I think it was year 2 now as a defense quarter. If you could emulate any defense in history, either at the NFL level or at the college level at Concordia, what would that defense be?
Man, that's a great question. So many geniuses out here. But the one guy I really like that I dive into right now is Brent Venables. But I do want to give a shout out to Bill Belichick, though. I think his defense is amazing. But I just like what Brent Venables is doing right now. I'm pretty sure everybody knows he alters his defense to what he sees. And I think that was a great example in the national championship when they faced LSU. I thought their defense was, from my understanding, was completely different than when he was kind of running all year. But he was smart enough to adapt and know, hey, in order to give our guys the best chance, we got to change. And that's the mindset I want to have. I never want to have, hey, this is what we're going to run, and our players got to learn this. I want to see what our players can do well and then fit the scheme into our players. So if that means we're going to be a 3 down front, we're going to be a 4 down front, we're going to be in a 4-2-5, we're going to be in a 3-4, multiple, we're going to bring pressure, play man, play zone. I want to do whatever is best for my players and give us the best chance to win.
Awesome. Coach Watkins, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on Quarantine with Coaches.
Thanks a lot, Tim.